Hello, welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I have been busy reading and I finally finished book 2 in the Crowns of Nyaxia series by Carissa Broadbent, so I want to talk about it. This has been all over Booktok, Booktube. I get the hype. Obviously, people have been comparing it to From Blood and Ash, A Court of Thorns and Roses, and if you're fans of those books, then you would like this series. So I read it and I want to share my thoughts on it, on both of the books. I will be including a couple of spoilers towards the end, just on like specific things that happen that I want to give my opinion on. So I will put like a little notice for you guys. Yeah, we're just gonna get into the basic plot summary of this book and why I think people have been really liking it, why it's been super hyped up, and then we're gonna get into my thoughts.
So if you haven't already, go ahead, hit that like button down below. Don't forget to subscribe, and without further ado, let's jump into the video.
Those of you who do not know, if you're not on Booktok or watching YouTube videos, then you probably don't know what this book is about, so I'm going to tell you. The Serpent and the Wings of Night is book 1 of 2. This is like a duet. Book 1 is centered around a girl named Oriah. She is the human adopted daughter of the Nightborn King. He is a vampire, and he is like the king of this entire region of humans and vampires, but vampires kind of like rule this society. Humans are basically just seen as very less than, essentially they're just food, but they do have laws protecting them, and Oriah is in the center of all of that. She grows up in a world that is designed to kill her. Basically, her only chance to survive in this world, especially being the daughter of a vampire king, is by entering the Kajari. It's like this legendary trial-based type of tournament where the winner gets basically whatever they want. So if you want
unstoppable power,
you can get that. So that's what she wants. When she joins this competition, she forms an alliance with one of the vampires that is in the tournament. His name is Rain. He's obviously a vampire, so he's essentially a very dangerous person to be around. She has been taught to basically not associate with anyone other than her father, the king, because everyone wants to kill her, eat her. She decides to form an alliance reluctantly in order to survive this tournament.
If you haven't already guessed, this is going to be an enemies to lovers book series.
My initial thoughts going into this book were not very high. I thought that it was going to be a very cheesy fantasy world. I've been reading not great books lately on Kindle Unlimited in the fantasy space. I feel like they're very repetitive. It's just a redundant plot line of enemies to lovers where we have an independent woman falling for this bad boy and saving the world somehow. It turns out that this book was like that and not like that, and I actually really enjoyed it. It was very well done. The world was fun. It was engaging. We had great character development, and the ending of book 1 transitioning to book 2 was very fun because I feel like in a lot of fantasy books we are given two characters that have this attraction, stuff goes down, but they're able to work through it into the rest of the book series.
Does that happen in this book?
Let's just say it's not what I expected, and it made book 2 a lot more fun and exciting to read, especially since it just released this month. It was a good time. I really enjoyed reading book 1. Book 2, I think I liked a little less, only because some of the things that went down in book 1 that I thought were unique and just kind of interesting to read. I think it really gave Hunger Games vibes because this trial is very much you fight to the death, right? It's like last man standing wins. Unlike books like From Blood and Ash or even A Court of Thorns and Roses, when you see our main female character put to the test in something, she is kind of naive and has never done stuff like this before, whereas Oriah is raised to become a killer in her own right because she is in such dangerous territory. She knows how to fight, she knows how to kill, she knows how to do what she needs to do and not feel bad about it. And she really does not like vampires. We are kind of taught that from the beginning, that she was taught to hate the people that she's grown up with. Another thing that I really liked about this book is, unlike other fantasy book series, the romance in a lot of those books are in the forefront of the storyline overall versus like the main plot of war between kingdoms or whatever. This book, I think, was the opposite. The romance took a back seat. Even though it was there, it was a slow burn, and that made the plot of the Kajari and vampires versus humans be more front and center. And I really liked that. The world building was great. Carissa Broadbent, while I did not like the Daughter of No World series, this series was done pretty well. There were a few plot holes that I found, but nothing really that could deter someone from reading or would make someone second guess, like, oh, that doesn't make sense. Like, really, there wasn't that much. And I loved that. I love that it was a vampire fantasy because we haven't been getting too much of that
without it being like complete smut.
So I like that we have a blend of epic fantasy writing and world building mixed with some fun little romance in there as well. And the romance really wasn't childlike. I felt like it was a very mature, enemies to lovers, slow burn type of growth that we see between these two characters. You realize that they have an attraction, but it's really, really difficult because they just come from extremely different worlds. Now, book 2 was definitely a little slower, but at the same time, I really enjoyed the pacing and where the author was taking the story because, again,
it was different, it was unique, it was original, it was refreshing.
To see a enemies to lovers kind of continue on to book 2, it was just very well done. Again, the world building was great. The plot line for this vampire world where we have multiple kingdoms, they all kind of hate each other, but there's underlying respect for the Nightborn King and these other kingdoms surrounding them. We see the humans in this type of livestock prey type of situation, and Araya is almost the heroine for her people, but she doesn't know them enough, so she's feeling very torn between supporting her father and his kingdom and also trying to protect her own people as well. So I love that. I will be talking a little more about book 2. So if you don't want to know anything about book 2, go ahead and skip. I do encourage you guys to read this book series because it was fun. But I'm going to talk now into some things that go down in book 2. Specifically the trope that we get now of captive captor. Oh my goodness. I loved it. It was giving the Plated Prisoner series, but without like
Stockholm Syndrome, if you know what I mean.
It was fun. We see Araya really come out of her shell here. And it was just really fun to see the banter between her and Rain, as well as her kind of coming out of her shell and learning how to finally stick up for herself and learn and utilize the skills that she was born with. So that was fun. It's a little more gory, it's a little more creepy, you're gonna get more of the vampire violence, and then you also are gonna get some more romance in it too. While I wasn't that big of a fan of the smutty scenes, I do think that the romance between Araya and Rain were really sweet. Pretty much every quote that I've highlighted in book 2 was from Rain. He was good. He was a good character. And I think one of my favorite things about this series and this couple in particular is they're just the perfect blend of strengths and weaknesses coming together. They both had a lot of strengths. They both had areas where they were just dynamite, and they realize that in each other, but then they also bring out the worst sides of each other. And the way Carissa Broadbent just brings them together during fight scenes when they are battling each other or battling someone else together, it was very vivid, came to life in your head, and it was so fun. I gotta say, while I'm sad it's only gonna be 2 books, I'm very happy that it was only 2 books. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but lately I feel like books just drag on.
And on and on and on and on.
And I hate it. Like, we just need to wrap things up, make a book a little larger just so we can get all of the plot in it and wrap it up, have a happily ever after, the end, let's move on. We don't need a 7-book series. And the fact that this was all condensed into 2 books, good job. So overall, I highly recommend this book. This was, I think, a 4.5 star rating for me. It was fun. I haven't read a vampire series that I've liked recently, so this was definitely a happy find, and thank you so much to Kindle Unlimited for releasing a book that is so accessible for people. So get your hands on it if you can. This was a pleasant surprise, and like I said before, I wasn't a big fan of the Daughter of No World series by her, but this was definitely her redeeming series for me. So if she writes any more books, I will be sure to check them out, because she brought up her status for me. So if you're looking for a vampire book, if you're looking for enemies to lovers, if you're looking for Hunger Games meets Hades and Persephone type of relationship, if you're looking for really good world building, if you're looking for a slow burn, then check out this book. I think you'll really like it. But that's gonna be it for me. That is my thoughts, my review on The Serpent and the Wings of Night and The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King by Carissa Broadbent. Let me know in the comments if you have read the series, what your thoughts are, if you plan on reading it or not. And until next time, I will catch you in my next video. Bye!